Alright, guys, today I wanted to talk about who is the biggest bargain of the summer in the Premier League so far. I was thinking, should I do it for teams outside of the Premier League as well? But the problem with that is it's hard to take every single team into account. So I've just stuck to the Premier League. So I've picked three players that I think the teams that they've signed for have got them very cheap. So we'll start off with the cheapest of the three in Marquinhos, who has signed for Arsenal for 3 million, which is half of his market value. And I mean, the age he is and the position he plays, his market value is only likely to rise, to be honest. So if he can get game time for Arsenal and score a few goals, even if he doesn't become like a massive success for Arsenal over the next few years, Arsenal still should get their money back easily and more. Probably quadruple their money, even if he doesn't do very well and ends up like, I don't know, joining a team lower in the table or something. So for me, that's an excellent piece of business by Arsenal. I know they've spent quite big in other areas this summer, about 34 million for Fabio Vieira and another 45 on Gabriel Jesus. So they've spent big in other areas, but this for me is a very good value for money signing. The second one is Fabio Carvalho from Fulham to Liverpool. Liverpool have managed to sign him for just over £5 million, which, I mean, again, brilliant value for money considering what he offered Fulham in the Championship last season. He's already scored a goal in the Premier League, I believe, right at the end of the season when Fulham got relegated just over a year ago. And yeah, and last season in the Championship had a really good campaign, got over double figures in goals, I believe, and I think made it into the Championship team of the season, which, I mean, for a teenager is ridiculously good going. So if he can, it's not likely that he's going to be a starter straight away for Liverpool. He turns 20 next month. I've had a look, um, and if he can just like be a squad player this first season and contribute when he is on the pitch, and then I don't know, in the future try and break into the starting 11, because I feel like Liverpool's team now is starting to change. Like over the past 3 or 4 years, we've seen Liverpool have this lineup of where you know who's starting. There's been a couple of changes, like Gini Wijnaldum left last year, Sadio Mane's just left this year. But the back four's still the same. The goalkeeper's still the same. Fabinho and Henderson are still very much starters in midfield, and so Salah's still there up front. Jota's also started to come in for Firmino more, but also with Darwin Nunez, I'd imagine that um, he's going to be starting for Liverpool purely because of the amount of money that Liverpool have played for him. You don't pay 85 million euros or whatever it was, 65 million pounds for a player to sit on the bench, or at least Liverpool don't. I mean, there are some teams who have done that, as we've seen, like Man City paid 100 million pound for Jack Grealish last summer. I'd expect him to be gradually more becoming a starting player over the next couple of seasons, but he certainly wasn't a starter for Man City last season. And also teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid, they've signed players for 100 million who haven't turned out to be good enough to be starting for them. But if Liverpool have spent that money on a player, he will be starting. So yeah, I don't think Carvalho will be a starter straight away. But if he can just like score some goals in the cup games when he gets game time, that would be very good. And then the third player I've picked for one of the bargain transfers of the summer is Nick Pope to Newcastle from Burnley for £10 million. Nick Pope, as we all know, for the past 5 years at Burnley, he's been there 6 years, but the first season Tom Heaton was very much the first choice. But since he's become like Burnley's starting goalkeeper in 2017, and they finished seventh in the league that year, um, he's just been brilliant for them. I think the following season he spent a bit of time out of the team because they signed Joe Hart, but it didn't take long for him to reclaim the number one shirt in Burnley's net. And yeah, he was a big reason why Burnley had any chance of staying up last season, because in attack last year for the majority of the season, Burnley just couldn't score to save their lives. Like the players that were keeping Burnley up last season was the defence. They were very good as usual. Like Burnley's defence last season was a mid-table level defence, but just not enough goals in attack from the attacker. Weghorst, when he came in, didn't score enough. Cornet did his bit, to be fair to him. He was Burnley's top scorer, I believe, and didn't even play. But he played about 2/3 of the games last season. Midfield didn't get enough goals, and also the two players out wide in midfields, like Dwight McNeil or who else did they have out wide? Players like Aaron Lennon, they didn't get enough goals either. So that's the reason why Burnley went down. Nick Pope, if they had managed to score a few more goals, they probably would have stayed up, and Nick Pope would have been a massive part of that. And for a team like Newcastle, who people aren't expecting to be anywhere near to the relegation zone next season, people are expecting them to finish mid-table, maybe pushing for a European spot next year. Is sort of like the next step for Newcastle. And yeah, with having Nick Pope, who's just an excellent shot stopper, that should help them massively. So for me, they've got a brilliant deal there. I think for the answer to the question of this video, I would probably say Fabio Carvalho, purely because he's half the price of Nick Pope, but also he's a lot more proven than Marquinhos, I think. Marquinhos, his stats are all right in the Brazilian league, but then not, setting the world alight, if that makes sense. But whereas Carvalho's done very good in his season in the Championship. Granted, it is the Championship, not the Premier League, but I still think the fact that he is the same age virtually as Marquinhos, that probably edges it in his favour. And also Nick Pope, although it is a very good signing, I think he's hit 30 now, but I mean, he still has like 6 or 7 years left, that still means. But I think Fabio Carvalho's still got to be, the bargain of the summer so far. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.